Well, I'm happy to say I'm joined live on the programme now by George Szamuely. George is Senior Research Fellow at the Global Policy Institute of London. Good to see you. So there we have the British PM saying that the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action is dead and should be replaced with a Trump deal. What do you think? What's the main point of that? What would it entail in your view?
Well, a Trump plan would entail something that Iran and any country would find unacceptable: a curtailment of its foreign policy, an abandonment on the part of Iran to act as a regional power, which it obviously is. It's a major power in the Persian Gulf. And to give up its the ballistic missile program. So in other words, it won't be able to defend itself from attack, given that it has already been threatened by attack from the United States and by Israel. So none of these things that Trump would demand of Iran would ever be accepted by any Iranian government. So it's really just childish to start talking about a Trump plan to replace the JCPOA. I mean, it's dead on arrival.
Just on London's view here, there seems to be contradictions within the British government itself on the Iran deal, with the Foreign Secretary saying the UK is still committed to the old deal. Where will that lead Mr. Johnson, do you think?
Well, this has been the hypocrisy of on the part of the EU3 for some time now. They've been repeating, like a mantra that, well, we're still for the JCPOA. We take it very seriously, and we're really committed to it. But in fact, they're not. They had a chance. Iran has been very patient. They had a chance to get around the sanctions. And while it's true that the EU3 themselves did not impose sanctions on Iran, they have nonetheless worked with the US sanctions. And in fact, I mean, it's essentially that, the EU3 and the Americans have been in cahoots in imposing these sanctions on Iran, because Iran is unable to sell its oil. Iran is unable to buy anything. Iran is unable to, make any money. So
that was my point. Can European countries actually achieve a breakthrough given those sanctions in place by the Americans, George?
I don't see it. They've already had an ample opportunity. I mean, the United States walked away in May 2018, and Iran has been very patient, waiting for the Europeans to come up with a mechanism to get around the American sanctions. And so while they did set up this Instex system, but nothing has happened. I mean, it's just simply a direct barter thing on goods, humanitarian goods, that in any case Iran is entitled to. So all of these promises that the Europeans have made have remained unfulfilled. So it's just nothing much is going to happen. But of course, now that they're invoking this dispute resolution mechanism, what will now happen is it will go on, they'll go step by step. It'll end up at the UN Security Council, and given the American veto, then the UN sanctions will snap back into place.
It seems obvious to point out, but we shouldn't really forget the contribution of the other countries to the nuclear deal. And a Trump deal, it sounds like a one-sided approach, doesn't it?
Of course it is. It's entirely one-sided. It imposes these limitations on Iran's sovereignty, on Iran's ability to defend itself, without any guarantee that the United States will adhere to this agreement any more firmly than it adhered to the last agreement. So even if Iran were to give up its ballistic missile program, even if Iran were to pull its forces out of Syria, what's to stop the next president, Nikki Haley or whoever, from stepping away from that agreement and cite Iran as being, once again, the devil incarnate? So there's no incentive whatsoever for Iran to agree to anything like this.
George Szamuely, Senior Research Fellow at the Global Policy Institute of London. Thank you.
Thank you.